Hello and welcome along to another of our SQL Undercover podcasts. We've got myself, Dave Fowler, and we've got Adrian Buckman with us again. How are you doing, Aid?
Again, yeah, very good, thank you. Finally broke my writer's block and actually put a blog post out for a change. Yeah,
Yes, I saw that. It's been a while, isn't it?
it's been a while. I've just been too engrossed. You know what it's like when you get the coding bug and you just go for it, don't you? Nothing else exists. It's just you just go for it. And I've been so close to releasing the next inspector, but I just keep finding something else to add. Or like, I can make this better. I can add this in as well. It gets ridiculous.
No, it's
But
cool.
yeah,
Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah, it was good. Good one. So today you got me. We're going to have a little look at backup encryption. Hopefully my
this is
voice.
cool.
Yeah, hopefully my voice lasts. I've been struggling with a bit of a bug for the last week or so. I've been a bit rotten.
Oh,
Our
I'm
throat's a bit
glad you're on the
dry
other end
and
of the camera then. You stay away
oh,
from me.
that's
It's
the
been
thing.
going around the house in here to be fair. It's been
That's
a
the
few,
problem with
a
having
few
the
of us.
the kids get it and they pass it to me. Then it goes back to them. It just keeps going around in circles.
You
I think
stand
this
no
is
chance. Once the kids
oh,
get it, that's it, isn't it?
they're just
Because you're going to
little
get sneezed on. You're going to get coughed on.
they're just little plague rats, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully my voice holds out. Right. Yeah, so backup encryption. I decided to have a little look at backup encryption because I mean we're always really diligent about security on SQL servers. We tie down our SQL servers, we make sure that people have got minimum permission sets and well at least we hope we do anyway. But one thing we forget about, a lot of people don't ever think about is then backups. You know, how many times have you seen you go to a site, they've tied their SQL server down to get access to SQL server, you've got to jump through hoops and submit forms and all this sort of stuff, and you find their backups is sat on some file share somewhere open to the world. You know, we've seen it and we've all seen it. And I mean, there's nothing to protect those backups. All you've got to do is grab one of those backups off. You can restore it. You can restore it anywhere. And you've got all that data. So that's why I want to have a look at backup encryption. So this kind of thing, I think it was 2016, wasn't it? 2016 backup encryption coming in with SQL.
Yeah.
Before that, it was a complete pain in the backside. You had to be using third-party tools. I know Redgate Backup did it and a few others, but you couldn't do it natively through SQL. But as of 2016, you can. So I just want to have a little look about how we do that. So let me just
Yeah,
share
there
my
are some
screen.
third-party things for this sort of thing, aren't there? Not just backup encryption, but like the equivalent of like TDE and data, encryption of data at rest. But they're weird because they're kind of like these third-party services that kind of shadow the SQL Server service. Oh, it just doesn't feel right, does it? It just,
I must
you got
admit,
to,
I do like doing anything within SQL. Do it natively in
yeah,
SQL if you can. It's I don't it feels better. It feels cleaner to me. I don't know.
yeah, just feels dirty.
Well, I used Redgate back in the day back before we had database compression, before we had backup compression, before we had backup encryption. I
Yeah,
used Redgate just for that purpose because I wanted compression. SQL Server didn't do it natively, so I had
yeah,
to go and find someone that did. Yes, we used Redgate backup at the time. But then, yeah, as soon as it came in SQL natively, we'll
yeah.
get rid of Redgate. Sorry, Redgate. Sorry to say
Yeah,
that,
it's the thing. Sometimes you just got
but
no choice, or you got restrictions with like editions as well. Editions can be another problem, can't they?
mm,
Like, especially if you're on standard edition, and you don't get all those beautiful encryption options. Then you haven't got much choice, have you? Really, if you need it to be secure and
yeah, sometimes you are a little bit tied up with what you can do, but yeah,
yeah,
I mean, as of 2016, it's all there now. You can encrypt your backups natively within SQL. So have a little look about how do you go about doing that. So little demo script using Azure Data Studio. Look.
look at
First,
this.
I'll tell you
Yeah,
what, I'm impressed with Azure Data Studio for writing these sort of these backups. What we're talking about. This is my scrambled, flu-bruddled head again.
but
Um,
then you can share this as well, can't you?
yeah, it's great.
Oh
It's
yeah,
brilliant.
I
It's
need
really
to get
good.
into this. I really do.
Yeah, like I said, no more little hard to read comments and things up with your notes in. You've got some nicely
Yeah,
formatted text boxes. You know, no more highlight that little bit of code that you want to run and accidentally
and you
get it
got your
wrong.
dark theme on there as well.
And you've got dark themes. Yeah. You can change. Yeah, you've got a ton of themes. You can change your themes. I'm getting completely derailing now. I'm going from Data Studio, but
Oh no, don't do that.
that's
No,
horrible, isn't
burn in my eyes. Put it back. Put
it?
it back.
Also, really disgusting thing. What is that about? That's horrible, isn't it?
We should have just turned this into an Azure Data Studio geek out. Maybe that should be
I
our
know,
next
perhaps
podcast.
we should do that, I think.
Yeah, I think that should be our next one.
We'll just play with the Data Studio for
Yeah,
15
why
minutes.
not?
Yeah.
Go for
Right,
it. Let's
I
see.
might do
Let's
that.
see it.
Right. So the first thing that you're going to want to do, encrypting your backups, you're going to need to create a database master key. You're going to need to do that in the master database, so make sure you're connected to the master database first. And when you create your master key, you're going to need to supply a password. So make sure it's a nice secure password, not database like that is. So we can run that again. Nice little bit of Data Studio, hit the run cell, and it will go off and run that for us. Okay. So we can check that's been created. We can have a quick look in sys.symmetric keys. We can check it's been created. And we can say, yeah, cool. Okay, we've got a database master key. Excellent. Created today. So we've created our database master key. I'm not going to go into why we create a database master key in this way. It's all to do with the key hierarchy. I've actually wrote a blog post on key hierarchy a while ago, so you check that out. Or there's loads of stuff out explaining the key hierarchies, and I might do a session on that another time. But for now, just go with that's what we have to do. Now, we're going to back up our database. We need to back up our database using a certificate. So next we need to do is, again, create a certificate. Now, for backups, this all got to happen in the master database. So make sure connect to the master database anytime you're doing any of this stuff. And we'll create ourselves a certificate. Give it a nice little subject so you know what it means. Give it a useful name. Don't just call it certificate because you might come back and have a clue what these things do. So make sure it's a nice certificate or a nice little subject that tells you exactly what it's doing. I can't stand go to places and you look at things and it's got certificate 1, cert A, cert B.
Yeah.
What is that?
People do it, don't they?
Oh, they do.
Or it's it's a copy and paste job, isn't it? It's like a rename.
Yeah.
They don't rename it. It's just they copy and paste it, hit F5, and it's something completely irrelevant.
It's when they copy and paste off the internet, isn't it? And it's someone's
insert
blog
name
post
here.
about something. Yeah.
Why is that certificate called insert name here? It's a long story. Previous DBA. It wasn't me.
Yeah, it's always a previous DBA. it's never us. Right. So yeah, you create a certificate. We can check we've got a certificate created by having a quick look in sys.certificates. Let's run that. And we can see, there we go, we've got backup cert with a nice little subject telling us exactly what it's doing. So we know, cool, okay, it's a backup certificate, we're using it for encrypting our backups, cool. Right, so now we've got that. Let's try backing up the database. So how do we go back up a database? How do we now encrypt a database, encrypt a backup? It's pretty straightforward. You know, it's not much different to your ordinary backup, command. The only difference is we need to pop with encryption on it. Okay, that's the only difference we've got now. So we say with encryption, we have to say which algorithm we're going to use to encrypt. So as of 2016, SQL Server only supports AES 128, 192, and 256 encryption. Everything else it thinks is insecure, so don't use anything else. Just use one of these AES ones. What's the difference? What does this little number mean? The number, what have I just done? I've clicked on there. There we go. It's just moved the thing, isn't it? The number just tells us the size of the key. So in theory, the bigger the number, the more secure the algorithm is going to be. There's arguments whether that's actually true or not. But one thing, the bigger that number, the bigger that key is, the slower it is going to be as well. So depending on what you want to do, I'd say for most people, just going with 128 is absolutely fine. I've got 126 in my example there just because that's what I popped in there, but it shouldn't really make too much difference. Unless you're working
instance.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're working for somewhere like the military or something, it might have regulations that you need to back up on a particular algorithm. For most people, 128 is probably fine. And like I say, there's a few debates about whether 256 is actually any more secure than 128, but again, I'm not going to go into all that. So define your algorithm. You need to name your certificate. So your certificate is just the certificate we've just created. So backup cert. And hit go. And that should now go off. And that will... Oh. It's had a moan. It's had a grizz. Right, okay. Oh, it hasn't moaned. It hasn't moaned. Well, it's backed up. It's just had a little grizz. It's saying, look, the certificate, you haven't backed the certificate up. Okay, you might want to back up your certificate. We'll come back to that. Well, don't worry about it too much now. Oh dear, I shouldn't do this when I'm feeling rotten, should I?
It's good actually though, because it's a good demonstration that it does actually tell you. So don't be a fool. Don't not read it. It's telling you something. Give it
Yeah,
a read.
this
Because
is
you can, you should, if you've just set this up, this should be your test. That should be like your first test that you're doing. Back up this database. It's probably going to be a test one that you've created anyway, and you're going to be running that in Management Studio or Azure Data Studio. So you should be watching out for errors. You shouldn't just be flicking it on in Ola or Minion or whatever and just saying, "Oh yeah, that's doing it." You should probably do this isolated anyway. So I think it's a good demo. I know you didn't intend it, but I think it's good.
To be honest, I don't know when this warning came in because I've not seen it before. I don't know. Perhaps I've just never noticed it. Perhaps I've always backed
Maybe.
up my certificates.
Probably,
But,
yeah.
I'm running 2019, and whether it's come in 2019 or 2017, and I just haven't noticed it. But I don't know. Anyway, we'll come back to backup certificates now. But for now, we've just run our backup database. We've backed up our database. Great. So how do we restore it? It's quite simple, actually. It's easy enough to restore. We can it's exactly the same statement as you use to restore a database. So restore a database from disk, point at your backup location. And I'm just going to put with replace there just to stop it moaning about not backing up my tail and my log because I don't really care for this database. So yeah, I mean, just restore it. It'll just restore back as normal. So we've got nothing really to worry about there. So because the certificate's already installed on our server, SQL automatically knows how to unencrypt it. So it's easy. It's that easy. I mean, there's not really any reason not to be encrypting your backups because it is that easy. But what happens now if someone comes in? So, like we said, we're storing this thing in a pretty open file share. I mean, anyone can come and grab this stuff. So what happens if someone comes in, Aid comes in, he grabs my data, grabs my backup, takes it offside, and tries to restore it on another server. Well, let's have a little look at what will happen there. So I'm just going to change my connection. Let's change my connection over to SQL 2. Another beautiful thing about the Azure Data Studio there, Aid. It's that easy to change your connection with another server.
Look at that, yeah.
Good, isn't it?
This is growing on me. I must admit, I'm sitting here watching this thinking, I'm just as excited about the Azure Data Studio as I am about the content. Honestly, it's really cool. It looks cool. All of your things, they look really nice in there.
We'll have to do a little nerd out on Data Studio, I think.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to spend some time in there now. I know I should have been, and I've seen other people use it. I just, you know what it's like. You get lazy, don't you?
Yeah, you do. You just get a bit complacent. You use what you use, don't you? But yeah, so we've switched on to another server now. So Aid's gone to take our backup. He's going to run off somewhere, and he's going to try and install it now on his machine. He's trying to store our database on his machine. So let's do that. Let's try and restore it.
Dirty bugger.
Oh, hello. We've got an issue. Right? It's not playing. Brilliant. We haven't got a certificate. It can't decrypt the backup. Excellent. We're golden there. Our backups are nice and secure, which is great until our SQL Server goes bang. So our SQL Server goes bang, and we now need to restore it on our DR box. How's this going to work? Because we've said the certificate's installed on the original SQL Server, so we need to restore it on another server that doesn't have a certificate. Well, what we need to do is back up our certificate first. So, and this goes back to that little grisly message we got a bit earlier on. So we can back up a certificate, quite simple. Backup certificate, your cert name, and to file. So, and this is why backup your certificate is so important, because if you do encrypt your backups, your SQL Server falls over, dies, and you need to restore these things somewhere else. If you haven't backed up your certificate, you're not going to be able to do that. Your backup's going to be useless. So it is always really important. Make sure that certificate gets backed up. So it's dead simple. Backup certificate, your certificate name, to file, to wherever location with backup certificate. So I need to switch back to my original server. That's SQL 1. Let's run that. Excellent. My certificate's now backed up. So now we can hop back to SQL 2 because we can. Okay, welcome back. We're having a few technical problems here. We've lost Aid completely and my video's gone. So hopefully we're going to carry on. Hopefully we have no more issues. And if we're lucky, Aid might rejoin us, but we'll see. We'll see how we go. So where do we get to? we have backed up our certificate. So now we're going to need to restore that certificate onto our second server. So we're connected to SQL 2. So to restore a certificate is simply, we say create certificate, give it a certificate name, from file, and we're going to point that at our certificate backup. So if we run that now, okay, now, now to be honest with you, I was expecting an error here. I was expecting an error about the private key. Because, and I was expecting that to grizzle us and tell us that we had to restore it with the private key. It hasn't done that. It's just happily gone and restored it. So let's see what happens now. We have a certificate. We don't have the private key. So I'm going to try just restoring our database. Okay. Remember, this was before the certificate was installed. This was failing. Okay. This wouldn't work. So I'm going to restore database SQL Undercover from disk, which is our SQL Undercover.back file, with replace. And we're on SQL 2. Remember before with that certificate, this was failing. Okay, let's run it now. Okay, so now it's telling it, it's failed again. It's telling us a key required by this operation appears to be corrupted. There's a problem, okay? So this goes back to where I was saying a minute ago. Now, I was expecting an error restoring the certificate. For some reason, it didn't error. It's gone and restore certificate, but it hasn't restored the private key. Again, I'm using SQL 2019, so perhaps there's a little bit of a quirk. It was 2019, but certainly with 16 and 17, that grizzle at you. That say, hey, you can't do that. You can't restore the certificate because this certificate, it hasn't done that. So what we're going to need to do, I'm just going to create a connection. I'm going to drop that certificate again. So let's do a quick new query, drop certificate backup cert. Let's run that. It says it's completed successfully. Let's do a quick select star from sys.certificates. Let's run that just to make sure it's gone. It's gone. Excellent. Okay, cool. We're cooking on gas, hopefully. So now, so what we need to do then, we need to back up this certificate and we need to back up the private key. So the statement's pretty much very, very similar to what to backup certificate in the first place. We're going to say backup certificate, point our cert. Let's just switch back to SQL 1 where we're going to need to be. So we're going to back up a certificate, backup cert. We're going to back it up to a file. We're also going to now say, we're going to say with private key. So this is going to be back up the private key. We're going to point the private key back up to another file and encryption using a password. So again, you want this to be a nice secure password. Database is a bit naff, but you know, this is just my test, my demo, so I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, you want to make sure that's something nice and secure. So let's run that now. Let's run that. And we've got another, I'll tell you what, this demo is just absolutely full of bugs, isn't it? I'll tell you why, because this backup already exists. This file exists. Now, I haven't got access to this file share from this machine. This is at my test domain, which I can't get to from here. So we'll just create a new backup cert. We'll call it backup cert demo. That'll do us. And just to keep it nice and happy, we'll also match the backup cert private key file with the same name. So we'll call that demo. So now let's try backing these up. Boom. Okay, we've backed up a certificate with the private key. So now let's head back over to SQL 2. And this time we're going to try restoring the certificate with that private key. So this isn't going to work because I've changed the file names and these things. So these demos never go to plan, do they? Never do. But hey, we're getting there, right? You're kind of seeing the point, I think. So yeah, and it's not, you know what we're like. It's not the crispiest production ever. You know, we like to keep it a little bit relaxed. So hey, you see everything warts and all. You know, we don't edit things. So now we're going to try create a certificate. So again, the command is very, very similar to what we did before. So create certificate, we get a certificate name. From file, we're going to point that at our certificate backup. And we're going to say with private key, and we're file equals, and this is going to be our private key backup file, and decryption by passwords. This password is obviously going to be the same password we used to encrypt up here. So let's run that in. Hopefully no errors. Excellent, that's a good start. No errors. Okay, cool. So let's just do a quick select star from sys certificates. Let's make sure it's in there, which it is. Okay, there it is. Okay, backup cert. Awesome stuff. So now, let's try restoring the database now. Okay, so remember, we've tried this now. We tried it with no certificate, it failed. We tried it with a certificate, but no private key, it failed. So now we've got the certificate and the private key installed on our server 02. If we just run the restore now, fingers crossed, it works. So there you go. We've now managed to restore our encrypted backup onto SQL 02. So yeah, so that is it. That is how easy it is to encrypt backups. I mean, I don't think there's any really reason why we shouldn't be encrypting backups. You know, it is that simple. The things you need to think about are these keys and these certificates. So if you're going to encrypt your backup, you need to make sure that that backup, that certificate and that private key is backed up and kept somewhere nice and secure and safe. Okay, if you lose these things, your backups are going to be pointless. So when your SQL Server crashes, goes down, goes up in flames, and you need to restore over to your secondary box, if you don't have these certificates, you're not going to be able to do it. You're going to be in a lot of trouble. So make sure these certificates are absolutely key to encryption and to keeping a nice, decent backup strategy, okay? So get these backed up, get them somewhere safe, not up on your file share that's open to the world either, you know? Somewhere safe that's locked down, that's secure. Keep that password nice and secure. And well, yeah, so that's pretty much it. Obviously, A didn't manage to rejoin us, which is a shame, but you know, technicals happen. We always get them in this. If you ever see any of our blogs, you can check us out at SQLundercover.com. We're on Slack. We're on Twitter. Obviously, subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. So until next time, cheers for watching and take it easy, guys. Bye-bye.